guys, welcome back to Rocket Gyan, my fellow space tubers. So today we have yet again mission of the SpaceX launching their Falcon 9 rocket, and on board there will be GPS 3 space vehicle, which is basically nothing not other than that thing GPS, the global positioning system, but the next generation satellite. So here we are guys, and hopefully you will like the layout which we have done here. So do give me a feedback as in if it is good or not. And yeah, so SpaceX, if you don't know guys, SpaceX is a company wherein which is basically headed by Elon Musk, and uh, it has revolutionized the space sector by launching very frequently, reliably, as well as reusing the space parts, means the vehicle parts. Okay, so that's a summary kind of a thing with the SpaceX. And now we can have a look at the Falcon 9 launch vehicle itself. And hi Luis Carter, how are you? Do you like this new layout? And if you do give me a feedback. And by the way guys, I just want to let you know that this super chat feature is enabled, so if you guys would like to support the channel, then yeah, you are welcome. So here we have the Falcon 9 vehicle. It has total 95 launches, 56 landings, and 41 reflown rockets. And this is how it looks like. It is a two-stage rocket, as you can see, 70-meter tall it is, which means a 15-story building. Okay, and it can carry about 222.8 tons into an orbit, and today it will be going to a geostationary orbit if I'm not wrong. So the payload capacity is 8.3 tons, but since it is a top secret mission, as in it is the customer is US Space Force, that's why they won't be releasing any updates, means any exact figures of the satellite weight itself, but we know the maximum limit. So that's the thing. This is the first stage guys, and it has, as you can see here, it has 9 Merlin engines, 7,607 kilonewton is the thrust. And thanks Luis Carter for the appreciation, really appreciate that. And it has around yeah, 9 Merlin engines and 7,607 kilonewton of thrust, what it produces. And then obviously the landing legs we have on the first stage. So yeah, here we go. It is basically needed to land on the drone ship, which is of course I still love your drone ship stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. So this is the second stage, which is powered by a single Merlin engine, which is but a vacuum optimized one. It has a bigger bell, as you can see here. It is a bigger bell because bigger bell means a more optimized way of moving in space, and due to that more efficient will be the engine. Okay, this is the interstage with the grid fin. Grid fins allow it to aerodynamically guide in when it comes into the atmosphere, and then these grid fins are used to aerodynamically guide the vehicle to the drone ship. This is the use of that. And interstage houses that say second stage engine. And this is the payload, and today the payload will be the SpaceX GPS 3 SV03, which means the space vehicle 04 satellite. So this is a single Merlin engine. It runs on gas generator power cycle, and it basically uses RP1 and LOX as its fuel, and the thrust it produces around 845 kilonewton. So this is the thrust which is produced by one Merlin engine, and all those 9 Merlin engines are isolated from each other, which means if any one of them fails, then the other 8 or 7 or whatever will not be affected, and they can continue their journey. And just because of that, because of this isolation factor and the thing that it has more thrust to weight ratio, that's why if any of the engine fails, then also it can safely and accurately deploy the satellite into the orbit, because the other engines can burn for a longer time. That's what it has. That's, you can say, the advantage of using multi engine setup. So this is the vacuum stage, and this is a very big, as you can see here. The size is comparable because 9 Merlin engines space is taken by this one single Merlin engine, so you can imagine the size. And yeah, that's what pretty much about the launch vehicle. Manat Singh, how are you? And he says the late night launch has become very obvious these yes, Manat Singh, you are right, and this is the, you can say, here these this launches becomes a very, you can say, a very late night launches. Almost I have to wake up full night, but it's okay, no worries with that. So now we can have a look at the mission profile itself. And the mission profile is pretty much same, if I'm not wrong. As you can see here, the launch will be there, ascent, and here the MECO stage separation and the second engine start. Then obviously for the first stage there will be a flip maneuver, pointing its engine retrograde and then starting its engine so as to slow it down before entering the atmosphere, because if it does not slow it down, it can lead to the damage because of the aerodynamic effects. And then finally the aerodynamic guidance is taken over, I should say. The grid fins take over, yeah, grid fins take over when it reaches a certain amount of thick atmosphere, and then it guides the Falcon 9 booster to the drone ship. That's the thing about the first stage. And for the second stage, obviously we have the fairing separation. uh, just after some time we have a stage separation, and then we have the payload separation. But for today's mission we have two burns, so this will be a long mission. As you can see here from the timeline itself, the thing is, the first stage landing will be done at 8 minutes 35 seconds. That's t plus 8 minutes 35 seconds to be precise. But the second engine, as you can see here, we have SES2, which is the second engine start, and it will burn up for around 47 seconds, and the second engine start too, and then sequence, and then finally after burning also they will wait for some time around 25 minutes, and then the vehicle will be deployed. But we don't know if we will be having the whole coverage, because this when the mission is like kind of a top secret mission, so they don't want to see us the payload, if I'm not wrong. So maybe they can issue something like, uh, we will be ending our launch coverage with the second engine start one, or something like that. So do look out for that. And yeah, PSL will launch tomorrow. OMG, it will be very busy. Yes, Manat Singh, yes, you are right. The PSLV will be launched tomorrow at around now how many hours? Around, yeah, 12 or 11 hours, if I'm not wrong. Tomorrow, okay, so no, it's on 7th November. Okay, see, it's one day still, but tomorrow we will be having that launch of this Atlas 5 rocket, which was suspended, which was scrubbed due to a GSE issue again. But they have fixed it, if I'm not wrong, and they will be attempting again in 48 hours. So that's what they said. So the 48 hours timeline is, uh, you can say, will be there tomorrow. So that's the thing. Now uh, just a sec. Yeah, here we go. We have the um, yes, I'll just switch over to that. We have the stream. And guys, as you can see here, we have a goal. I have set a goal for a microphone. If you can guys support me in buying one, so it will be very useful here. So yeah, in that bottom right corner. And okay, so it's good. So let's hope. And guys, since if for some reason, not for some reason, obviously we will be wanting to see every thing, as in the deployment of the satellite. But if as you know, if they will show the deployment of the satellite, so this stream will be a longer one. So maybe we can have a KSP in between when there is something like the hold for the coverage, and then we can just revert back to the stream again. So yeah, if you don't mind, or if you have any suggestions for as in what we will do in the stream, so do let me know. And we can do that obviously, but what I have planned is we can do a Kerbal version of this mission if I'm not wrong, and let's see what happens. So SpaceX has recently you can say covered its 100 flights if I'm not wrong. They released one video for demonstrating that, or you can say celebrating that, and yeah, that's a very big achievement. And right now, only few hours back, the Rocket Lab has issued their guidelines for their reusability, and surprise they won't be using the helicopter for this reusable mission. They'll simply be splashing down their first stage booster into the ocean. So that's a thing which they have changed, but hopefully after some days, means if they are successful in proving their recovery methods by splashing down into the ocean, and hopefully they will consider for helicopter recovery. So that's the thing which we are waiting for, and once we have that, then obviously I'm here with you with every update, so don't worry about that. And what else has happened? Nothing much, but this month as a whole is very busy for me and for the space enthusiasts and for the space nerds, because we have many launches scheduled. Obviously we have the Crew 1 launch also around November 14 if I'm not wrong, and we have 3 back-to-back launches. Tomorrow we have the Atlas 5, and day after tomorrow we have the PSLV, and obviously we have one China's launch also, and if we have that launch coverage, then I'll be streaming that also around 5 hours for 4 hours from now. Let's see if I can get any stream. If I do get, I'll stream that also. So it's a very busy month as a whole, so let's hope for the best and see what we have in store for November. Around T-minus 14 minutes from the launch, guys, and SpaceX will be live in any minute. They are still live, but the coverage will be live, and just for the sake of it, let me just see if we have any updates, as in everything is going right or not. Let me just see and confirm you guys. Yeah, we are go for launch, and yeah, the weather is currently 80% favorable, and hopefully we won't be having a scrub because of the weather, because this mission was scheduled to be launched on October 3, and it is now, you can say, almost a month, greater than a month, but yeah, okay, more than a month, but it's okay. So it was scheduled to launch on October 3, and now it's November 6 or 5, whatever, in whichever country you live. So that's the thing.
GPS is ready for launch.
And I just really love this intro.
Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Ten, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And this was, oh wow. And here we go.
Good evening. It's
Good
Thursday,
evening.
November 5th, and on your screen is a live view of Falcon
Yes,
9
Luis
waiting
Carter, I'll
its
do that. No worries with
6:24
that.
p.m. Eastern Time launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. My name is Jesse Anderson, and I'm a lead manufacturing engineer here at SpaceX. Welcome to our webcast coverage for GPS 3 Space Vehicle 4 for the Space Force. The U.S. Space Force satellites provide mission-critical global access, persistence, and awareness for our national security and have become vital to our global community and world economy. The Global Positioning System, or GPS payload, will provide a diverse range of navigation and timing services for both civil and military purposes. Today's payload will join 31 operational GPS satellites already on orbit and will help to serve over 4 billion users worldwide. And as you may recall, about a month ago, we stood down from Falcon 9's launch attempt of this mission due to an auto abort during engine ignition caused by early start behavior on 2 engines. This was a good abort by Falcon 9. The rocket did exactly as it was programmed to do when the data indicates something doesn't look as we expect it to right before liftoff. We sent those 2 engines to Texas for further testing, and it turned out that there was a blockage in a vent passage that leads to a relief valve on the gas generator.
Oh.
The blockage was caused by a masking lacquer residue that had hardened during the build process, but once we removed it, the gas generator was restored to normal behavior during subsequent testing.
Okay.
This was a really great find. It allowed our
Exactly.
teams to fix something that is very subtle but can have some negative impact on the engine behavior, as well as allowed us to make sure that we can prevent this from happening again in the future. The
For
2
sure.
engines which first exhibited the early start behavior on this booster were replaced with new ones, which were tested again during our full duration static fire. Both engines look great, and the rocket is healthy for flight today. So let's take a closer look at the vehicle that will launch the GPS-3 satellite. On your screen is a view of Space Launch Complex 40 with Falcon 9, our 2-stage liquid-fueled launch vehicle getting ready for liftoff. Falcon 9 stands 229 feet or 70 meters tall, which is slightly taller than a 21-story building. The bottom 2/3 of the vehicle is a brand new first stage. Its job is to accelerate the vehicle all the way to the edge of space, where it will drop off the second stage carrying the payload. Tonight, we will be attempting to recover the first stage on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. And there you can see it on your screen right there in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. What's really exciting is that this specific booster is planned to support the GPS-3 mission next year,
Okay.
which will be the first time that the U.S. Space Force has agreed to
Exactly.
fly a flight-proven booster.
That's a big achievement
About
for them.
2.5 minutes into flight, the first and second stage will separate, and the second stage will ignite its single Merlin vacuum engine to carry the GPS satellite to a highly elliptical orbit. Separation from second stage will occur approximately 4,000 kilometers above Earth, and then the satellite will perform berms to raise its position to enter a circular MEO, or medium Earth orbit, and reach an apogee of approximately 20,200 kilometers above Earth. An apogee is basically just the furthest point from Earth, or the highest point that the satellite will reach in orbit.
Okay.
Inside of that structure on your screen, this is at the very top of the rocket, is where the GPS-3 satellite sits. And that structure is what we call the payload fairing, which is about 17
And the
feet
gray
or 5 meters in
second
diameter,
stage
and
is
about
back.
43 feet or 13 meters tall. This payload fairing protects the satellite from aerodynamic heating, loads, and contamination during ascent. But once we get into the vacuum of space, we no longer need this protection, so we will jettison the fairing halves to save some weight as the second stage continues with the satellite to its targeted drop-off orbit. The fairing halves we are using today are new, but due to upgrades being made to our recovery boats, we will be attempting to pick these halves up out of the water using our recovery vessel, Mischief, today. And there is Mischief on your screen, heading to the pickup zone. The large trusted structure next to Falcon 9 is the transporter erector, or the TE, and you can see that on your screens to the left side of Falcon 9. The TE is used to roll the Falcon 9 to the launch pad and raises it to its vertical launch position, as well as routes power, fluid, and communication to both the rocket and the satellite. Now let's get a status update on the vehicle.
Good evening from the webcast desk here at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. I'm John Innsbrucker, Falcon 9 Principal Integration Engineer. It's been a quiet countdown during the day. Working relatively few minor issues, the teams are ready to launch as we approach T-minus 8 minutes to liftoff. Now we're launching from Space Launch Complex 40 here in the dark of Cape Canaveral. This will be our 3rd GPS launch, and all of them have been from this launch pad. Now the spacecraft team performed functional checkouts of the GPS satellite during the day, and the Falcon 9 team began their final checks of the launch vehicle at T-minus 2 hours. At T-minus 38 minutes, the team concluded their electronic go-no-go poll and gave the okay to proceed into propellant load and launch. The team then began loading propellant at T-minus 35 minutes. We load the propellants as close to launch as possible in order to keep them cold. Both the first and second stages use the same propellants, as the second stage Merlin engine is very similar to those on the first stage. This allows us to make the second stage like a shorter version of the first stage, and this commonality is one of the many reliability features in the Falcon design.
Sure.
Now, our fuel is a refined form of kerosene known as RP1. Our oxidizer is super chill liquid oxygen called LOX. I mentioned keeping the propellants cold. We chill the liquid oxygen as cold as we can get it, allowing us to load more into the booster. Now, currently the second stage is fully loaded with RP1 fuel, and the first stage continues loading for another minute. Liquid oxygen is also loading on both the first and second stages right now.
Exactly.
We're also
as we
loading
want.
helium into storage vessels on the first and second stages. During flight, we'll take this cold helium, run it through heat exchangers on the Merlin engines. That heats the helium up, and as it expands, we use it to fill the empty volume in the propellant tanks that's created as the engine pumps pull the propellant out of the stages.
Exactly.
Now, you just may have heard a moment ago, we're inside of 7 minutes. We have begun engine chill in. That will cool the turbo pumps and avoid thermal shocks when we start them at T-minus 2 seconds as part of the ignition sequence of the Merlin engines. The spacecraft team has transitioned the GPS payload to internal battery power, occurring just as we came on the air at T-minus 13 minutes. That is their last major activity required before launch. Currently, the range is green, ready to support. The weather, the only thing we've really been watching is the ground winds. They've been marginal, but for the moment, everything continues to look good. We've got about 17 miles an hour from the east. That's within limits.
Okay.
Now, if we do have to call a hold on today's launch, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow with liftoff time scheduled a few minutes earlier at 6:20 p.m. Eastern Time.
And they have a 15-minute
Now,
launch
all
window.
systems continue to be go for a liftoff just past 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time.
Thank you so much for the update.
As we mentioned earlier, today's mission is for the U.S. Space Force launching the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 4 payload. Now we'll hear from the Air Force's Lieutenant Colonel Margaret Sullivan and Lockheed Martin's Tanya Ladwig for more information on tonight's payload.
Exactly, so I think I need to do this because sometimes copyright kind of a thing occurs, so
today everyone has GPS technology in their pocket.
so yeah, let's see what is there, and then we'll get to know.
Position, navigation, and timing, supporting the entire world.
GPS touches the lives of everyday people all the time.
Exactly. Okay, so we know GPS
It's
is
changed the way
the
we work, it's changed the
ultimate.
way we play with over
What do you
4
say?
billion users worldwide.
Aha.
We're already preparing for the next generation of GPS satellites with our GPS 3 follow-on contract, and we're inserting greater technology for greater capability.
The brand new United States Space Force owns this premier asset and provides this position, navigation, and timing service to everyone.
We're currently less than 4 minutes from liftoff. Everything continues to be go for launch. What we're watching right now is the strongback has just retracted to the pre-launch position. It's about 2 degrees from the rocket. At liftoff, hydraulics will move the strongback the rest of the way back about 45 degrees from the rocket. Now, first stage fuel loading did complete at T-minus 6 minutes.
Strongback retracted.
We're continuing to wait for first stage liquid oxygen load to finish up in about half a minute here, followed a minute later by second stage completion.
Exactly,
Now,
so
a minute before liftoff, you'll hear the announcement, Falcon 9 is in startup. That means the rocket's own internal computers are controlling the launch countdown on the rocket. Once the engines are confirmed to be at full power, the flight computer on the second stage will then command the ground hold downs to release the rocket right at T0. The satellite team continues to monitor status and health of the GPS-3 located inside the fairing that you can see on the screen.
Verification.
And right now, all systems are go on the satellite. Range
okay.
is green for launch.
Close out.
And we have, it sounds like in the background, we heard that stage 1 lock closeout complete, so we're on time. And the good news is the weather is looking good still. Ground winds are in limits, upper altitude winds are good. So as a reminder though, If we don't have a launch today, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow with liftoff time scheduled 4 minutes earlier than tonight. But right now at 2 minutes and 20 seconds and counting, everything continues to go well. Waiting now to hear stage 2 LOX load completion.
It will be completed, and we are right now, guys, 2 minutes from the launch, and everything is looking cool, great, and weather is green for launch. Range is also green, and hopefully, fingers crossed,
Stage 2 LOX close out.
and stage 2 LOX is closed
Minus
now.
a minute 51 seconds, and we've heard the stage 2 LOX loadout call.
And hopefully we see this beautiful bird
since we
fly.
finished loading liquid oxygen onto the second stage, we have to drain the line back that runs the length of that strong back you can see next to the Falcon 9. And as we do that, we'll vent off pressure, and that'll create the large white cloud that you see around the strong back and maybe the rocket, depending how the wind's blowing. That's
And
nominal.
here
That's
we
what
go.
you see right there. That's just
This
us
is so
bringing
beautiful.
everything back down the line as we're closing out propellant and pressure loading on the Falcon 9.
This is so beautiful to watch, this cloud, white cloud. I really love this thing in these rockets, in cryogenic rockets, these clouds. And this thing.
Next activity, we're waiting for the call out that Falcon 9 is in startup.
So now it will be in startup in 3, 2, 1, and startup. Internal flight computers have taken over for the countdown.
Falcon 9's in startup.
There it is. Computers have taken over the Falcon 9. We're pressurizing first and second stage tanks for launch.
Finally, guys,
Waiting
it is
for final
happening.
go.
The mission director, stage go for launch. Flight.
And mission
Mission director
director.
has given the go for flight.
Yeah.
Everything continues to look good. Pressurizing the tanks one final time here to get ready for liftoff. But right now at T-minus 30 seconds and counting, all systems are go for the launch of Falcon 9 with GPS 3 space vehicle number 4.
So guys, we are now 20 seconds from the liftoff. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14,
Falcon 9's completed for
13,
flight.
12, 11, 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
Mission
Liftoff. Go Falcon, go
and
GPS.
liftoff of the Falcon 9 launch vehicle to the medium Earth orbit, carrying the GPS space vehicle 04 satellite.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal, as you can see, guys. This is looking cool now. Well, this is really cool.
30 seconds into flight, propulsion says the Merlin 1D engines are nominal. We're on trajectory and preparing to throttle down in preparation for maximum dynamic pressure.
And we want that, right?
And we're heading into the throttle bucket as we power down the Merlin engines. And throttling back up now. And with the
Guys,
engines
this has
back up at full
happened now.
power, and we have
Finally.
gone past Mach 1.
Finally. I'm so
Now for
happy.
Max Q call out.
We'll-
Vehicle is experiencing maximum aerodynamic pressure.
And here we
Guidance
go,
engineer
guys.
reports we're passing through the period of maximum aerodynamic pressure called Max Q.
As we
From
can
here
see
on, as the
something
speed picks
also.
up, the atmospheric density decreases and the loads are reduced on the Falcon 9 vehicle.
Maybe you want that
Propulsion
only.
power continues to look good. The trajectory looks good.
MVAC engine chill started.
The engine chill in call out on the MVAC second stage engine indicates we've begun chilling that turbopump like we did with the first stage engines, getting ready for ignition of the upper stage engine. Now coming up in just over 30 seconds, the usual 3-sequence event that'll happen in rapid succession. Main engine cutoff will shut down the 9 Merlin 1D engines you can see glowing there in the night sky. Stage separation, and then we'll get startup of the second stage engine.
This plume factor is really very cool to see, and I really
Nice
like
view from
this
the
thing.
ground camera looking up at the 9 Merlin 1D engines on the business end of the Falcon 9
And
first
Miko,
stage.
guys, I think we have Miko, and then now stage separation confirmed. Now we should be having the second stage light up, and here we go, the green igniter, and the second stage has started, and it will now burn for some time. And now the left hand side you can see.
So we've had a good separation. MVAC up on power. On the left screen, the first stage continuing to coast downrange as it begins to deploy those large titanium grid fins. Trajectory continues to look right down the middle.
Both stages are following nominal trajectories.
Guidance confirms we're on nominal trajectory with both stages.
And that's a cool
signal, Maryland.
thing to hear.
Maryland reports they've got signal from the second stage. Next event coming up is payload fairing separation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And here we go, the fairing
nice
separation.
View from the camera looking forward.
Yeah.
The GPS 3 satellite with the two payload fairing halves separating. Everything continuing to go well on this mission. 3 minutes and 42 seconds into flight. First stage continuing to coast to apogee, headed downrange. Second stage engine at full power. Everything's looking good with the MVAC engine.
Let's hope this
Right now,
thing is
trajectory
successful.
heading us to where the Bermuda ground station. Can hear us? We've heard the call out, acquisition of signal. Bermuda now getting the telemetry from the Falcon 9 second stage. So 4 minutes, 8 seconds into flight, everything going well on the flight of Falcon 9 with GPS 3.
Exactly as we want.
Both stages continue to follow nominal trajectories.
And at T plus 4 minutes and 20 seconds, we're currently in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns. And we just passed T plus 4 minutes and 23 seconds, and that's actually when the first stage reaches apogee of 120 kilometers, almost 400,000 feet. At stage separation, the first stage velocity is about 2,200 meters per second, or 5,000 miles per hour. So right after stage separation, the first stage, still moving at such a high velocity, continues to raise its altitude as it coasts for a couple of minutes. Basically, the first stage almost doubles its altitude from stage separation, which occurred at about 69 kilometers or 226,000 feet, to when it reaches apogee, and then it starts its return back to Earth. And again, apogee is the highest point, or the furthest that it is away from Earth in the trajectory of the first stage. Now, the next major milestone that you'll be able to see, on your screen, is the first stage's entry burn. For the entry burn, we relight the center E9 engine, and then partway through, we relight the E1 and E5 engines, so that we have a total of 3 M1D engines, helping to slow the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. We're just about 40 seconds away from that entry burn beginning. Today's entry burn should last about 27 seconds long.
Both stages continue to follow nominal trajectories.
So entry burn is a little longer this time.
Stages are looking good.
It normally is around 10 to 20 seconds, but 27.
We're about 20 seconds away from that entry burn on first stage. And it is nighttime over there on the East Coast, so hard to see that first stage on the left-hand screen, but once entry burn begins, it should light up that screen. We should be able to see first stage pretty well.
And entry burn has started, guys, as you can see. Entry burn has started.
Entry burn starting up.
Stage FTS is saved. Stage 1.
I think they are breaking a lot more
see the
now.
plume started off small and it got a little larger, and that is because we started with 1 single engine, added a couple engines for a total of 3 for this entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
Okay.
And that concludes the entry burn. Next up, we do have a couple major milestones happening back to back. The start of the landing burn for first stage, followed immediately afterwards by SECO-1 on second stage. And SECO, which stands for
see the re-entry effects, guys.
Cutoff, is where we shut down the MVAC engine to allow the second stage to coast, which preserves the fuel until we need it for the final burn to take us to our targeted orbit for the GPS 3 satellite. Then about 25 seconds.
Cape, stage 1 expected.
Then about 25 seconds after SECO-1, we'll hopefully have a nice view of the first stage touching down on Of Course I Still Love You. And there's that drone ship on your left-hand screen.
And okay,
Stage 2 has entered terminal guidance.
so this time they had this difference of the entry burn, because they had to brake a lot, as they are aiming for medium Earth orbit, not low Earth orbit today. So that's the thing. That's why they had to decrease a lot more speed than usual.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Now we should be seeing the landing burn and the landing of the vehicle.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Landing burn has started. Come on, SpaceX, switch over. Okay.
And Seco.
Seco is confirmed, and here we go.
Seco.
The Falcon 9 is coming.
Returns to Earth.
Oh wow.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Landing legs have been deployed, and
Nominal parking orbit.
There's good orbit, and at the same time, we have touchdown of our Falcon 9.
Here we go, guys.
On Of Course I Still Love You.
There we go.
And again, that did happen at the same time, so we did have Seco and good orbit of our second stage.
Expected.
And there you can see on your left-hand screen,
onto
first
the
stage
bullseye.
landed on Of Course I Still Love You. This marks the 16th Falcon 9 landing just this year and the 64th of all time. And we're looking forward to seeing this booster take its second flight on the next GPS mission next year.
And
now the second stage vehicle has now entered its first coast phase, which will last about 54 minutes. And we will light that MVAC engine for a second time shortly after T plus 1 hour and 3 minutes. So we're going to take a quick break. And as always, we leave you with an animation so that you can keep an eye on where that second stage is throughout the coast phase. So we'll see you back here at T plus 1 hour and 2 minutes.
for sure. So guys, this was the thing today, and you can see this GPS satellite here, and everything happening just at the same time. We have the good orbit insertion as well as the Falcon 9 first stage landing. And for this one landing, as the aimed orbit was the medium Earth orbit, so the apogee was a little bit higher than usual, and hence they had to light up those 3 instead of 1, and they had to light it up for some more time. But recovering from the medium Earth orbit also, like as in aiming for a medium Earth orbit and then recovering the first stage booster, I don't know if they have done it before, but this is what they don't do normally. So this is kind of a achievement for them if they haven't done it previously. I don't know if they have or not, but yeah, if they have also, then also this will be you can say added into those dictionaries, or what do you say, not dictionaries, in those books, I should say, normally the books where they keep in count as in which orbit versus the Falcon 9 landing successful, that kind of a thing. So yeah, so
Signal Maryland expected.
hi Labrat, how are you? And loss of signal as expected, you just see. And the classic, you can see those thrusters with the eyes.
Bermuda expected.
Here we go, guys. As you can see, the thrusters, the RCS thrusters with the ice building upon, and that's completely nominal, no worries with that. But sometimes it actually becomes very, very cool to see those crystals of ice. And yeah, that's the thing. And now we can have a KSP if you want, because this will take obviously some time, around 1 hour. So we can have a KSP till then. So what do you want me to do in KSP? Maybe a remake for this in the Kerbal version or something else? Whatever you want, just tell me, guys. And till then, let me just open that in background.
Signal New Hampshire expected.
Let's just hope that nothing breaks, because sometime it does break. Make a moon landing, Manat Singh says. Okay, we'll do. Now for the moon landing, what do you want, a rocket or a SSTO? Means single stage 2 orbit. I mean, okay, so let me just tell you like this. You want a rocket or a plane to reach the moon? That should be good to answer. And it is currently loading in the background. Okay, rocket would be good. Okay, sure, then no worries with that. Let's hope everything is done quite well. I know it is kind of a hard, but okay, no worries, we'll do with the rocket only. And okay, so for this yeah guys, one more thing I would like to tell you, that the SpaceX has, you can say, confirmed, or you can say kind of those dates are revolving around right now for their 15-kilometer Starship hop. Yes guys, the Starship is becoming a reality now, and the 15-kilometer hop is not too far away now. Around the net is right now, the no earlier than is right now 12 November, and hopefully we'll be able to see that. And if we are able to see that, and let's hope that SpaceX streams that, so that we can have those beautiful events, or you can see the views of the Starship, actually the full scale model of Starship, for a 15-kilometer hop. But we don't know the trajectory yet, as in will it perform a belly flop maneuver or not. But yeah, we do know it will be a 15-kilometer hop. Earlier it was a 20-kilometer hop, but for some reason now it is 15-kilometer. And for this launch, the thrust puck, if you know guys what a thrust puck is, if you don't know, no worries. Thrust puck is kind of a thing which takes the thrust from the engine and distributes it all over the rocket. That's what a thrust puck is, if I'm not wrong. And that will be different for subsequent hops, whatever you say. Will they attach heat shield on the Starship? Well, yes, Manat, they are planning to do so, and I really hope they will be doing that, but let's see what happens. Right now, yes, they will be going for a heat shield.
Also signal different expected.
Loss of signal as expected. So, and this blue line, guys, if what should I say? This blue line and gray line, what is the difference between these two? I think right now they have actually changed, or what? No, they haven't. So okay, so the blue line is what it is going right now, and yes, they have changed it now. Earlier it wasn't like this. I mean, there were not 4 lines. We had 2 lines before also, but not 4. So yeah, they have kind of changed that thing. But the blue line is the what it is right now going, and if I'm not wrong, the gray will be gray will be the future orbit, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. Gray will be the next part. Yes, Manat Singh, you are right. Earlier it was reversed, if I'm Yeah, earlier it was like gray was the current path and the blue was the future, the next path, because the earth rotates, right? So the because of the earth rotation the orbit also changes, uh, and that's what it displays. If the earth would have not rotated, maybe that will be a gray path what it will take, and because of the earth rotation it will take blue part, if that makes any sense. Well, I don't know why, but the loading is taking forever. Okay. Sometimes this broadcasting software basically behaves in a very odd way, takes up all the memory and hangs up the system, and what it is, something kind of a thing is happening right now. And I don't want to mess up anything, so let's hope everything is cool. Once it is loaded, then I'll switch over to that. And yeah, I need to keep in a check for when it will be live. The throttle of Vikas engine, well, it's a good question. We can, if I'm I don't know, seriously I don't know. For this one I do have to research it out and tell you maybe in the next stream. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, my computer is behaving strangely right now. I don't know if you are seeing this. If you are able to hear me. Okay, now it is fine. Okay, now okay. Atlas 5 launch skipped, is it? Well, I have to check it once. Okay, so yeah, you are right. So they are right now targeting for Sunday, and they are pending the range approval. That's also thing. Okay, thanks for the update. Oh, new date is right now the Sunday is what they are planning to do, Manat Singh, but we don't know, so it's okay. And now I can skip to okay, here we go. Just tell me guys about that, if everything is going cool or not, as in the voice and the music, and then we can have a look. Yeah, it's not delivering the kind of a thing it should deliver. I mean the frame rate, and that's because this broadcasting software is taking up too much of space. I don't know why. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. Okay, here we are. Yes, it is giving me some control. And don't worry guys, I'll switch over to the stream when it will be available. So yeah, don't worry for that. Now if I'm not wrong, I do had one moon craft. Kerbal, can it go to the moon? Let's see, what do we have here? I don't know. So the SSLV is comparable to Vega stage in height, but SSLV load capacity is very less compared to Vega. Is it comparable to height? I don't know. I think the SSLV is shorter, not Vega. I think so. That's the thing. I don't know. I'm not sure about it, but if you are sure, then do tell me. But I think SSLV is shorter than that. Which one should we go for? I don't think so we have enough delta V for this. I don't think so. Let's see what delta V do we have. Maybe we can go for minmus here. Let's see where can we go for this thing too. Let's just launch this and see what happens. 34 meters. Manat Singh, I really don't know about this thing. I'll surely confirm this thing, but you say the load capacity of that is different. Maybe the material for the booster which they are using, that is more efficient for Vega, so that's why it can carry more load capacity. Maybe that's the case. And guys, just tell me if you can hear my voice and the music behind properly. Okay, so here we are, guys, on the launch pad. You can see here we are on the launch pad right now, waiting for it to launch. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of this Kerbal X launch vehicle to Minmus or the moon. Let's see where we can go. I think it will be good to go to Minmus. Here we go for the stage separation. And we have asparagus configuration here. Now 2 more will be. Here we go. And don't mind those little bit blast. That's a Kerbal thing that always happens. If the rocket is alright, ignore those blasts. That's what we say. And here we go. Wow, that was kind of cool. Let's now reach the orbit with this, and as you know, I just did a normal ascent profile, nothing much, pointing 45 degree for at around 10 kilometer mark, and that's what I did. So if once we get that, the SpaceX one, then I'll switch over to that. Oopsie doopsie. Let's just save the delta V. Okay, let's just not do this thing. Let's just save this. Wow, see the plume. This rocket is getting really toasty now. And here, okay, a lot cooler. Now let's just get ourselves into a good orbit. Okay, appreciable. Do we have the antenna on this? I don't think so. That means, oh, okay, no worries. We don't want antenna because we have the pilot here. I hope one of them is a pilot. Yeah, all of 3 of them are pilot. No worries with that. Let's just cruise to the apogee and then start up our burn. And 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, 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 go. And we have more than enough delta V for go to moon or Minmus. I think so. We have that much. Yeah, we do have. Let's go to the moon now. Guys, is the music or the game sound is good? We don't have any problem with that, right? Are you able to hear the game sound? Or should I increase or decrease or whatever you want? Oh, no. Okay. Let's go to some, you can say, North Pole. Let's go to North Pole. What the hell? Come on, come on. Come on, let me plot it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that was what I was looking for. Nah. I think we are doing something wrong here. We'll correct the orientation, not for no worries with that, but how much is it? We should aim for around 70. Yeah, cool. Now 3, 2, 1 and go. We are accelerating towards the moon now, and hopefully we'll be able to reach the moon safely, and then go obviously reach back to Earth safely. Oh, we overshot shit. We overshot. No worries, we'll do the correction in between, but I think so we have done something blunder here, and let's hope it's all right. Because this because it will be going very fast here, and I really don't want to do that, but I think so we have done a mistake here. It's okay, no worries. Let's hope everything is cool. And bye bye. 1 and go. Okay. Coming here, done with this. Let's get ourselves into a lunar orbit. Here we go. Here comes the moon. And this has stuck for some reason. Okay, now back to the business. Now we'll stop this thing. Three, two, and go. Stop ourselves and let's get into the lunar orbit. And I really think that it is not enough. The delta V is not enough because we have done some blunder here. Okay, now let's just try to land on the North Pole. So to do that, we need to kinda do this. Is this the North Pole? Yeah, this is the North Pole. Okay. Let's hope everything goes right and we do have a landing. This moon kinda looks like a dope though, that's I should say. And I think we have gotten ourselves into a sun synchronous orbit or what? It looks like a strange, but no worries. Back to business. Just a 1 second burn. Here we go. Okay. We will be landing here, but we don't want to land there. So, oh, okay, cool. This is done. Landing legs deploy. And hope for it to land. $20,000, 10,000 will do braking or what? 12,000. Okay, do the braking. Oh, it's pretty fast though. Do it now. 5,000 will do the work if I'm not wrong. Let's see. Oh, oopsie doopsie. Here where we are landing now. So let's just do a landing burn now. And we have landed. Whoa, no, abort. The surface was not right, but here also it is not right. And we have landed safely. Safely. Okay, cool. Now we will go for an EVA and plant a flag. Obviously, that's what we are here for, right? Okay. Come on, plant a flag. D4, come in. Moon. No, moon. Okay. This is how the Earth looks like from the moon. It's like Earth is rising from somewhere on the moon. And as we are on the crater, that's why we can't see anything right now. As in that, the sunlight. Let's just go and oopsie doopsie doopsie. We'll go with the jetpack on and grab. Board. Now let's get back to the orbit and return back towards the Earth. What should be our course? But should be towards east. Let's see. And go. Where are we heading? What's the trajectory? And here is the Earth. Okay, I was going with this cooler way. Should go here only. Oh, abscess has risen so much. Okay, not bad. Hi Ahmed from Jordan. Hi Ahmed, welcome to the stream, and we'll be returning back to the SpaceX stream. Don't no worries with that. And sorry for the thing which I'm kind of not doing commentary enough because I'm kind of sleepy though. That's why, not full of energy, and it's very night time here, and yeah, that's the reason. Now let's get back to the orbit. Now to the lunar orbit. Insert ourselves into a lunar orbit. It's what I wanted to say. Okay. And go. Into the orbit. Oh no, we won't be able to go back, obviously. Only 128 meters per second of delta V is left now. Obviously we won't be able to make it back. We did a blunder, no? That's why this has happened. Do we have any refueling station here? Anything around this thing? Nothing. Everything is around carbon, nothing here. That means I need to have them here and maybe send a rescue ship so to rescue these Kerbals back towards the home. And I did the delta V was enough, but because of my blunder of plotting this thing in not a very efficient way, that's why this has happened. And I think, will the crewed future missions on moons and Mars have jetpacks for astronauts for easy gravity control? See, the jetpacks concept is a thing which they can think of, but the problem with them is that they are very, you can say, uncontrollable kind of a thing. I mean, not fully uncontrollable, but yes, they are controllable, but I mean, there is no need for them. That should be a proper answer. Yeah, there is no need for them right now, and I don't think so we would be having a need for a jetpack, because we can just solve that problem of a jetpack with simply a ladder. So once there is, if there is not any need for that, so the scientists or the engineers will not develop that. So I don't think so that will happen. Yeah, obviously we are not going home with 128 meters per second left. Obviously not. So let's just stop here only and get back to the SpaceX stream. And hopefully in the next stream, whenever we get these kind of a chances, we'll send a rescue ship and rescue these Kerbals from the orbit. But how will I rescue them? Oh, we don't even have a docking port. I mean, what I could do then also is I can send a rescue ship with that claw and grab this, or just a simple ship, get close enough to them, take all the Kerbals to that ship and then get back to home. Let's see what I can do. But for this time, that's what we had. And now we can surely shift over to the stream. Go. So right now the ship is passing over Africa, if I'm not wrong, Africa, and the SES is coming to a close. Means the SES, the second engine start 2 is coming to a close, as we can see, and hopefully we'll be able to see that also. Let's hope everything goes fine. So guys, if you have any questions or so, you just can ask me, and hopefully if I know the answer, then surely we'll be able to answer that. Other than that, what else do we have? Any update from the space center or the space world? Osiris Rex basically released one navcam video also, and that's really cool though, and I'm planning to just upload that on my channel also, I mean, on our channel I should say, and let's hope how does it go about. And that navcam video is really cool because it let us see that how much mess it created there. I mean, you must be like just going there, blowing some air, won't do some pretty big mess. No, that's not true, and that's not how it happens in a low gravity environment, and that too with no atmosphere and in space. So that is a pretty cool video, and I'll post that on this channel, no worries with that. I'll post that. Okay, so that's the thing right now. The speed is around 26,272 kilometers per hour, and the altitude is 438 kilometers, because it's a medium earth orbit, 500 kilometer altitude kind of a thing. So yeah, right now the second engine start and will ensure that it will be reaching the elliptical orbit elliptical orbit of apogee of around 2000 kilometers or something like that. I mean, because this GPS satellite has to go to a geostationary orbit, and that will be kind of a geostationary transfer orbit. So yeah, but I really can't understand why they aimed for the MEO, means the medium earth orbit. I mean, they could have easily gone to that apogee from the low earth orbit, and that would be more efficient also. Must be some reason for the range or what, I don't know. There must be some reason around it. Let me just think about it. Why did they prefer for a medium earth orbit over a low earth orbit? I mean, the low earth orbit can also do the same thing. Insert around to 120-150 kilometer orbit, and then just what they are doing now also, the second engine start to, and then point ourselves into the elliptical orbit, and we are ready to go. Maybe what I can think of, what the reason for the MEO could be, we don't want the orbit to decay fastly for this satellite. Maybe for this satellite only, the customer demanded that we will be orbiting the earth for one whole orbit or something like that. We will be staying in that elliptical orbit for some time, and that's why we don't want the orbit to decay, and that's why they chose a medium earth orbit, because that's a orbit which is hard to decay. Maybe that's the reason, because I don't find any logical reason. Or the second reason could be the fuel parameters. I mean, the Falcon 9 has to adjust to its fuel for the payload capacity it has. Maybe it's a lighter satellite. I mean, it does not have that much weight, so the fuel could have been wasted if they have just had done this for a low earth orbit, because the low earth orbit to elliptical orbit requires lesser fuel than the medium earth to that elliptical. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. Let's see. That's a food for thought kind of a thing. I'll surely find this out and try to inform you guys. Why did they choose medium earth orbit over low earth orbit? Let me see if we find any answers for this. If you can guess anything, guys, you are obviously invited to type in that chat and have a healthy discussion. Let's see. Do we have something? And I think they have recovered also from their fairing half, if I'm not wrong.
Acquisition of signal, Tasmania.
Okay. No, not able to find it yet, but I'll surely do some research about it or ask some experts around why did they choose medium Earth orbit over the low Earth orbit. That's a really good question. I am so proud of myself, by the way, because the thing is obvious that the low Earth orbit can do the same thing which they are doing right now from the medium Earth orbit, and that could have saved a lot of fuel. We seriously don't know.
MVAC engine chill started.
So the engine chill has started, as you just heard. So this engine chill will basically make the engine ready for the ignition again for the SES2. I mean this they are using RP1 and LOX, right? So they need one igniter to ignite those fuels. So that's why they will be basically needing a second batch of igniter to ignite them. So that's why these kind of ignition for the second time is kind of a risky, because sometimes this basically adds complications only, and if you can just avoid it, then it's much better. That's why they normally don't do that. I mean, normally the SpaceX Starlink launch, now they have started doing two second stage burns, but previously what they did was only one second stage burn, which which actually puts itself into the orbit. So that's what they do always, just a single burn and it's into the orbit. We the Kerbal Space Program players, we like me can't do with two burns. I have seriously tried so many times. I haven't achieved a single orbit wherein I haven't done two burns in the Kerbal Space Program, because I need one burn to circularize the orbit and or to get the periapsis up from the atmosphere. At least one. I've tried so many times taking different ascent profiles and everything, but nah, I wasn't able to achieve that. So obviously with this thing, the SpaceX was doing that in one engine one. Because they were doing that because they had the computers and the trajectory planning, trajectory engineers and everything, which they plan and do. Kerbals are very lazy people. They just don't do anything. They just sit onto the rocket and hope for the pilot controlling manually insert themselves into an orbit. That's what they do. And the pilot. Okay, we are back.
Carrying GPS-3 Space Vehicle 4 for the U.S. Space Force. To recap what's happened so far this evening, we had a smooth on-time liftoff at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 2.5 minutes later, we separated the first stage from the second stage. The second stage then completed its first burn, successfully inserting the GPS with the second stage still attached into the planned parking orbit. Now we're coming up on the second burn of the upper stage engine in about half a minute. Flight computer is currently commanding settling thrusters to turn on and off. That's releasing nitrogen gas out of two thrusters in the back of the second stage that lightly pushes the stage, and that helps keep the propellant at the bottom of the tank right above the inlets to the engine's turbo pumps. As you can see from the ground track, we're passing south of the Tasmania ground station in Australia. Following the burn, we'll be headed in orbit up towards the Hawaii and Vandenberg ground stations. Awaiting for ignition.
Oh. And here we go.
We've got
Second engine
ignition of the
start
second
too.
stage engine. We're up on power. Now, the second stage will burn for 45 seconds. We're going to be adding over 2,000 meters per second to the speed of Falcon 9 before we shut it down for the second time.
Oh.
You can see from the velocity meter on the screen, the speed clicking up. We're still at 419 kilometers in the same altitude in the parking orbit where we've been for a while. But this burn is going to bring us all the way up into the transfer orbit, and then shortly after that, we'll separate the GPS satellite. Now we're coming up on shutdown number 2 called SECO-2, and this is the burn that will place GPS-3 space vehicle into the required orbit.
MVAC shutdown.
NVAC has shut down and we have an elliptical orbit.
Call out. We're waiting for the orbit.
Let's hope we have a good orbit.
Nominal insertion orbit.
Here we go.
The guidance, navigation, and control engineer has called out a nominal orbit. Looking at the data, it's an excellent looking orbit. So second stage in a good orbit, GPS spacecraft is still attached to the Falcon 9 at this time. Now we're going to go through a series of events to get ready for separation. A little bit after we have finished a short coast, we are going to start a slow spin of the second stage. That's going to help stabilize the GPS satellite when it's released from the second stage.
Okay.
We also have to wait until the orbit takes us into range of the 2 Air Force satellite ground stations, one in Hawaii, one in California. We've got to make sure that the ground stations can be in contact with the GPS satellite before we release it. So all of this is going to take 24 minutes to get into the right situation at the right spin rate. And if that satellite separation is planned to occur at about T+1 hour and 29 minutes. So we're going to pause the commentary now during this coast, but we will come back just before planned separation in about 23 minutes. We'll be back with you at T+1 hour, 28 minutes, and 30 seconds.
Well, guys, this is every day we learn something new, right? And this is the example of it. Today I learned. I always used to wonder, I mean, why do they take some time to release to separate the satellite? Because they can just separate it anywhere. So this is the reason why do they do it. I mean, they first need to contact the satellite from the ground stations, which he said Hawaii. Oh, sorry, Hawaii. I don't know what he said, but yeah. They need to contact the satellite from the ground station, and once they establish the contacts, once it is in the range of the ground station, then they separate so as to confirm, or you can say take over the control of the satellite just after it releases. Yeah, it makes sense and it is logical also, because we want the control, otherwise it will just tumble and rotate and mess with itself, and aliens will take over. So we just don't want that, right? We want the full control of our satellite. So yeah, okay, so that's the reason why they release the satellites. I mean, they deploy the satellites after some time. Cool though, but still also I can't find the reason for that thing. Okay, so by the way guys, this blue orbit and this gray path, I have now found out what it does. Basically the blue is the current path, right, and the gray is the path which it has already followed, if I'm not wrong. It's the previous path, that's why it is gray, and the blue is the current path which it has to go and achieve. So that's the thing. It is right now flying over the Pacific or Indian Ocean. Yeah, and as you can see here only that it is elliptical orbit, which is a transfer orbit, going for a transfer orbit to this geostationary orbit. Why do we call it a transfer orbit? Because because it allows the transfer of the orbit. I mean, firstly it was in the medium earth orbit, now it will go into a geosynchronous orbit. So or geostationary orbit. So from that orbit, medium to geostationary, they need to do something, right, to orient itself or to reach that orbit. That's to that, yeah. So that what we call a geotransfer orbit, the orbit which allow us to transfer from the medium to the geostationary. Make sense though? And he said that he just so that's the power of the Falcon 9 first stage. In just 47 seconds it was able to add 2000 meters per second of delta V. I mean, okay, I can understand it has already shed most of its weight because already it has burned for so much time the second stage, but then also 2000 meter per second in just 47 seconds is a lot TWR. I mean, that TWR wouldn't be suitable for a human mission. That's why they need to throttle themselves down. So yeah, that's the thing. And now we are just waiting for them to waiting for the satellite to reach that range and then deploy. And this is a constellation of the satellite, guys. Around 24 satellites are planned to go, and yeah, they will be going to the launch, not means the geostationary orbit. And these are the next generation, fourth generation if I'm not wrong, for the GPS satellites. GPS satellites are those only which you think of, those only, the global positioning system. Will the second stage deorbit itself? Manat Singh, I think it will, because it has it is not a that orbit. See, there must be some specific reason, guys. I am saying there must be some specific reason for them to deploy themselves into a medium Earth orbit, because now for sure they need to deorbit their SpaceX second stage, because the decay period for this medium Earth orbit is like 5 years, 5 to 3 years. So they don't want that. If it would have been a low Earth orbit, it could have like decayed in month or something like that and enter the atmosphere. Since it will not, hopefully they will track, if I'm not wrong, if they are not deorbiting, they will keep a track of it, and after 5 years obviously it will just deorbit itself. But if it just deorbit, because I think the chances of deorbiting is more. So yeah, why do we have to have a additional piece of space debris when we do have a lot of them, and nobody is right now doing significant amount of work to do something about it? Because space debris is something which needs to be addressed as soon as possible, because I myself is very concerned about this, because the space debris will obviously cause a Kessler syndrome. If you don't know what a Kessler syndrome, it is nothing but, imagine this situation when a space debris just hit one proper satellite at an orbital speeds, and orbital speeds are, it's very huge. As you can see right now, the orbital speed is 33,000 kilometers per hour. But this velocity, if any space debris hits a satellite, so it will just shatter that satellite and it create more pieces, and then those pieces will hit other satellites, and from that satellites more pieces will be generated, and those pieces will then hit the other satellites. So this chain will keep on continuing, and there will be one time when all the orbits, or you can say everything around us, above us to be precise, will be accumulated by space debris only, and we will be locked inside the earth, just locked. We won't be able to do anything about it, because we won't be able to just go out and have ourselves inserted into some safer orbit, because we will be then locked here on earth. No space exploration, nothing. So this kind of a thing needs to be addressed as quickly as possible, and ESA and some private companies are right now addressing this thing, ESA is basically very concerned about environment and thing which they can do for environment utilizing the space resources. So why not start from the space environment only? So that's what they are doing. They will be demonstrating this space debris deorbit. What it will do is, they will send one satellite into space, and then it will just, you can say, catch one space debris or something like that, and then deorbit it. That's what the plan for them, and they will do it for just one piece, and we have thousands of pieces. So it will be a technological demonstration mission, and it will be launched in the next year if I'm not wrong. So that's what they are doing. So that's the thing. So LabRats, are they televising the PSLV DL from India Saturday? Yes, LabRat, they will be doing that, and no worries, you are here on this channel, so you will find that stream here also. And glitch on altitude and speed, I don't think so, because altitude is rising. As you can see, it's now 513. I don't know, I haven't seen it, but let's see if altitude is changing, then okay. But the speed should have decreased, that's for sure, because it is increasing, the height is increasing, the speed should have decreased. So that's the thing. There was talk that Starship could help with debris in space. See, the thing is, Starship is a very big rocket, I know, but see, right now there are some technological concept for space debris removal. One is just docking or catching some space debris part and then deorbiting it, or the other one is throwing a net kind of a thing on the parts and then deorbiting. Right now that's what they are doing. Deorbiting is one key thing which they had to do, and if they can just catch more and more debris into one thing and then deorbit all them together, that will be the thing which they will be looking for the most, because that is a more fuel efficient way, because then deorbiting and then raising the orbit again, catching the other satellite debris, and then again deorbiting and raising the orbit again. So that's a very fuel consuming task, and that's the reason why people are like, I won't say not interesting, but what's that word, find it very complicated to do, because it requires so much of fuel to do something like that. Okay, so altitude hasn't changed for a while, and I can see the speed is also not changing. So yeah, that has glitched. I mean, that has not glitched basically. No, that's not glitched if I'm not wrong. That is the thing. Why is it still? Because they have lost the contact from the satellite. Once, if they regain the contact, when they will do after some time, when there is the deployment time, then I think that these things will change. I don't know if it has glitched or not. Let's see. Yeah, for the space thing, I can just keep on talking and my talk will not finish. That's the thing. That's how much I love space technology, rocket science. And I just in free time I just go on YouTube or internet and research about these topics and gain my knowledge. I should say update my knowledge. And one more thing, now the next video which I am working on, I think will be on Gaganyaan mission. There is one thing I would like to tell you, that Gaganyaan mission is the India's ISRO's Gaganyaan mission. If you don't know, guys, the Gaganyaan mission is basically the first human spaceflight mission of India. So that's a very big thing to have. So I'll make one video about it. But the thing is, this Gaganyaan mission already has many videos on YouTube, but they are very old, and many things have happened since they have announced that mission, and many things have happened, some things have added, and there have been some changes also. So I'll just compile each and everything into one video and try to give a gist of everything which has happened till now and what in future we can expect. So yeah, could be repetitive. I mean, you should be, if you are fan of that, you must be knowing about everything, but I'll do my best to do something unique about it. New Neptune mission is on headline, will be launched on Starship. Well, I don't know about it. Let's see, what do we have for that thing? New Neptune mission, I mean, are we having one mission to Neptune? Well, that will be very cool. Is it something Neptune mission? I can't find it on the net because it says we don't have any mission planned to Neptune in July 2020. I don't know. Is it something like that? Manat Singh, can you elaborate on the thing which you just said? I don't know about it. I can't find anything about it. And yes, guys, this ISRO's first launch will be this one. ISRO hasn't launched any satellite till now, and tomorrow or day after tomorrow they have, according to your time zone, they will be having the launch, and it will be great to see that again coming back to the normal launch business. Obviously the reason was the COVID. Because of that they weren't able to launch satellites into space. They had many missions planned for this 2020 year, and they have to just revamp their timeline of the missions, and now they have started their launch campaign again in November. So yeah, that's the thing. And if you ask me why did they just didn't launch because of the COVID, but what impact did COVID had on the launch campaign? I mean, the thing is, for ISRO, the rocket parts are just manufactured all over the India mostly, and they had to be shipped from that in factory or industry to the vehicle assembly building, right? And the logistics was a main concern during the COVID times, because the logistic was not moving, or logistics was not provided at that time. So that's the reason. Yeah, it will not held in 2020. Okay, that's the thing, but I know it won't be held in 2020. I was saying till June 2020 NASA didn't plan any mission to Neptune. That's what I was saying. And with 2 methane tanks, what from NASA, the exploration of Neptune has only begun. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Right, you are right. That's what I was saying. But this animation which you are seeing right now, it's a very Okay, so yeah, as you can see guys, when they just achieved that ground station contact, and now the speed and the altitude is changing. That's why it wasn't changing. So it wasn't a glitch. I was right. It wasn't a glitch. It was just a network problem, you can say. They didn't had many towers to provide them the network properly in space, and yeah, that's the thing. So right now the altitude, you can already see it's 3000 kilometers. Wow, wow. And it is planned to have 12,000 kilometers, if I'm not wrong. The apogee is 12,000 kilometers and already 3000 kilometers. Acquisition of signal, and the speed is decreasing dramatically. It was around 33,000 initially, and now it has become 26,000. And it is obvious because it is just taking on the altitude and and moving away from the celestial body. So in the layman terms, you can say that moving away, the gravity decreases, and means you need to have moving away means when you just throw a ball, when it goes up, the velocity decreases. The highest velocity when it has, it is at that point which you just release the ball into the atmosphere, I should know, to the sky or something like that. So that's kind of something concept is there in this. Also they have two points on orbit, apoapsis and periapsis. Apoapsis is the highest point in an orbit, periapsis is the lowest point in an orbit. And as you have guessed it now, since it is the highest point, the velocity is less at that point, least I should say, the least at that point, the apoapsis. And the periapsis, since it is the closest to the celestial body, the speed is maximum. And now you can see it has certainly started its spin, which stabilizes the GPS satellite, which he said, and then we'll be able to see the deployment. It is coming in around 5 minutes, no, 4 minutes from now. That is just so cool to have a company which can just launch things into space. I mean, I just dream of this thing to have for me also. Have a rocket company launch the things into space, or launch humans into space. That will be a great thing to have, right? But it will cost you around 200 to 300 million dollars for a single launch. So you need to have that amount of money. See, the thing is, in business they say that you need to have money, but people are there which achieve so much without having money. Yeah, obviously you need to invest something. I mean, having no money and investing something is a different thing, but my point is, if you just don't have money, you can't deny the fact that you can't just open a business, because investors are there, and you can grab those opportunities. But investing a $200 million is a very different thing to have. So yeah, for opening a rocket company is a very big task, because rocket science itself is a very complex thing, and operating a rocket, launching that into space, requires so many clearances. And they have this saying also that the clearances which they require for a rocket to launch is the greater than what is the height of the rocket. So that's the amount of clearances they require. And then obviously the issues, the complexity, and so much monitoring, many things are there in a rocket company. So it's A little bit hard, not too hard, but if you're determined, you will be able to do that. No worries. I just went off topic. So these are some views, beautiful views from the space, as you know.
Welcome back to our
And
launch
here we go.
coverage of the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 4 mission for the U.S. Space Force. If you're just now joining us, we had an on-time launch at 6:24 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by a successful ascent, stage separation. First stage came back and landed on Of Course I Still Love You, and 2 second stage engine burns. We have just one more major milestone coming up to complete today's mission, which of course is the deployment of the GPS-3 satellite from Falcon 9's second stage, just about 15 seconds from now. Currently, the second stage is rotating to stabilize the GPS-3 satellite, and we're currently in view of those 2 customer ground stations on the western U.S. that John mentioned earlier that are necessary to connect to prior to deployment today. We've got a nice live view of that GPS-3 satellite.
And here we go. Separation confirmed.
And
finally.
there confirms the deployment of the GPS-3 satellite as it's drifting away from Falcon 9 with a nice sunlit view there. This confirms a successful spacecraft separation, and that completes our primary mission, which will bring today's webcast coverage to a close.
And it's a great view of the GPS satellite drifting slowly away from the Falcon 9 second stage, and it's a great way to bring a webcast to an end. We'd like to thank the U.S. Space Force for entrusting us with today's GPS-3 Space Vehicle 4 mission. And we look forward to the additional GPS missions we will be supporting in the future. Special thanks this evening to the 45th Space Wing for range support, and to all of our viewers, thanks for joining us for today's mission, and have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for streaming, I should say, SpaceX, for streaming these awesome launches and making our cravings, you can say, satisfying our cravings for the launch, right? That's the right thing. Okay, so guys, Labrat says the best entrepreneurs never use their own money. Yeah. Yes, you need to have something, need to have that kind of a brain to utilize someone else's money, and then also if you fail, then you need to have something in your mind, because that's a very difficult task. So leave that. So in conclusion, guys, today we witnessed a beautiful liftoff of the space of the Falcon 9 launch vehicle from the Space Center, and finally after 1 month, not year, 1 month, we were able to see this thing fly. For GPS-3 launch, not the Falcon 9. Falcon 9 was flying for so much time, and we have seen that thing also, but for GPS-3 has now flying for the second time. This was the second launch, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, this was the second launch of that booster, and that booster will all and no, it was the first one. What am I saying? I don't know. It was the first one. Okay, yeah, it was the first one, obviously, because the second one will be the one which the GPS-3 again, again there is one satellite, GPS-3 satellite only, which they will be launching on this booster, which they just recovered right now. They have given the clearances. So okay, so yeah, then we saw the beautiful liftoff, the stage separation, second engine start, and we saw also the blunder which I did in the KSP. We played some KSP, the Kerbal X, the vintage, the legendary Kerbal X rocket, I should say, and because of my blunder, I wasn't able to have enough Delta V to reach home. But no worries, in other streams we will send a rescue ship and get them home. So thank you so much for joining in, guys. I really appreciate your effort to just tune in and listen to my gibberish, and yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for tuning in. So until then, this is Pianshu Roila signing off. You just saw Rocket Gun. Stay safe, stay healthy, and bye bye.